I hurry along the corridor to Menzies' room. In my head, I rehearse what I'm going to say to him. How Mum and Dad have been called away to Turkmenistan on business. How the birthday party's been cancelled. How I'm only going home on the weekend to feed the goldfish. Look at me. I've only been at this school for 3 days and I'm lying already. I hate doing it, but I have to. As I pass the room next to Menzies, I hear the sound of a Russian blender going at full speed. No teachers live in this floor, so it must be Dave, the bodyguard's room. I hope he's holding the lid on tight. That's another thing about Russian blenders, loose lids. I knock on Menzies' door. After a bit, he opens it. "Hello," he says, glaring at me. I'm confused. Does Menzies knows what I'm about to say? How can he? "Come in," he says crossly. For a moment I wonder if the kids from class have been back, but when I step into the room I see a breakfast tray that hasn't been touched, and next to it an envelope, torn open. Menzies is holding a crumpled sheet of paper. "What's wrong?" I say. "I've had another letter," he says. "From the refugee detention centre?" I say. He stops, giving me a quick glare. "You probably think it's all stupid," he says, "like everyone else around here." "No," I say quietly, "I don't." For a second, I'm tempted to tell him some of my feelings about jails. You spend a lot of time thinking about them when your brother's in one, but I decide not to risk it. Menzies looks pale and tense. He doesn't look like someone who's writing to the refugees to get something out of it for himself. He looks like someone who's so upset about them that he's not even eating properly. "Why don't you have some breakfast?" I say. Dad reckons everything in the world seems worse without breakfast. I take a piece of toast from Menzies' breakfast tray and offer it to him. He grabs it and chucks it across the room. Either he hates toast or he's very angry. "It's not fair," he says. "The refugees haven't done anything wrong. They shouldn't be locked up. It's not like they're thieves or criminals." I don't know what to say. "Listen to this," says Menzies. He smooths out the letter and reads. The Australian government say we are queue jumpers, but it's not true. In Afghanistan, everyone made queues, except the people who were shot. In this detention centre, we also queue. For soap, for food, for water. People with headaches have to queue for pills, but we don't complain, because if we do, the guys shout at us, and that's not good for the people with headaches." "That's awful," I say. It is. Even Gavin doesn't have to queue for aspirin. When he has a headache, he just bangs on his cell door and yells, and a guard brings him some. Menzies reads more. "I'm sorry if I get some of these words wrong, Menzies. The kind person here who helps me write this letter in English is very sad. His wife and 2 daughters drowned on the boat trip to Australia. Sometimes his tears fall in the letter. He says sorry about the wet marks." Menzies' voice gives a wobble. He stops reading and glares at his porridge. I don't want him to see I've noticed the wobble in case he feels embarrassed, so I say something quickly. "Is he the same man who sent you the other letter? The one you had in class yesterday?" Menzies nods. "I wonder why a detention centre has to be even worse than a jail. Except," says Menzies, "he's not a man, he's a kid." I stare at him. I thought I was shocked before, but now I'm really shocked. "A kid?" I say. "His name's Jamal," says Menzies. "He's the same age as us." "But that's impossible," I say. "Kids don't get locked up." "There are lots of them in the detention centres," says Menzies. "Jamal's got a younger sister, Bibi. She's had a toothache on and off for the last month." My head is spinning. Menzies reads more of Jamal's letter. "The people who run this detention centre don't give the guards a present on their birthdays. No wonder the guards are often bitter and cross. So me and Bibi are making presents for them. I'm making soccer balls out of plastic bags and string for my blanket. Bibi is making little mountain lions out of dry grass and dirt and spit. We hope this will give us a happier detention centre and cheer Mum and Dad up. They are very sad because the Australian government won't tell us how long our prison sentence is." Menzies stops again. This time, I'm the one who can't speak. I'm thinking about something Gavin has said to me a few times. How the one thing that helps him get through his prison sentence is counting the days, knowing exactly how much time he's got left. Imagine not knowing when you're going to be free. Imagine not knowing if you ever are. Jamal's right, that's not fair. "What did they do," I ask, "to get locked up like that?" Menzies goes to his desk, pulls out a bundle of letters out of the drawer and holds them out to me. "The government in Afghanistan tried to kill them, blew up their house." I give a whistle. Even the police special branch wouldn't do that here. I don't take the letters from Menzies, best not to get involved, but there's something I have to ask. "Why did the government blow up their house?" I say. "Are their family really big criminals?" Menzies shakes his head. "Jamal and Bibi's parents ran a school in their home." I can't believe it. the death penalty just for running a school. Gavin stole a really expensive cuckoo clock and confessed to 53 similar offences, and he only got 6 months. The family escaped from Afghanistan, says Menzies. They wanted to get as far away as they could, so they tried to come to Australia. The Australian government put them in a detention centre, first on an island somewhere, then in the desert here. Suddenly, I don't want to hear any more. Suddenly, the whole thing's making me feel ill. The one thought that's kept me going all these years, the piece of good news I tell myself every time I lie awake worrying about mum and dad's profession, is that kids don't get locked up. So if mum and dad ever have to go to jail, I can stay outside and look after things. Take care of the house and pets, plus visit mum and dad with cakes. It must be a mistake, I say. The government must have got the paperwork wrong. Your dad's a government minister. Can't he do something? Get the kids parole or something. Menzies gives a big sigh. I try, he says. I ask him, but we just end up arguing. He says I'm too young to understand. I tell him a 3-year-old knows he shouldn't lock innocent kids up. My mother butts in and tells me not to speak to my father like that. It's really hard trying to get them to listen over the phone. Why don't you speak to him in person, I say. When? Demands Menzies, getting cross again. It was the holidays 4 days ago, I say, puzzled. Why didn't you ask him then? Menzies doesn't reply, and I wonder if he's got secrets about his family after all, or if eating porridge for breakfast makes you a bit slow. Then he does reply. I didn't actually see my parents these holidays, he says. They were overseas on a trade mission. He looks so sad I want to put my arms around him. I don't, because this is the boys' building, and I'm not even meant to be here. What did you do? I ask. Stay here? Don't be an idiot, says Menzies. Who'd want to be at school in the holidays? I stayed with my uncle and aunt on their farm. They don't like me much. We argue a lot. They think refugee boats should be sunk. For the last few days, Dave went to visit his mum in Canberra. I had to come back to school in a police car. I tried to imagine what it would be like not seeing your mum and dad on holidays. Just me and Rellies and a public servant who's trained to kill. Compared to Menzies, I'm lucky. I've got mum and dad. It's not my parents' fault, says Menzies. They do very important work for Australia. I'm proud of them. I look closer to see if he really is. He's not looking at me anymore. He's staring at his porridge again. But I wish they had a bit more free time, he says. He's trying to hide it, but I can see his eyes behind his big glasses. I can see how wistful they are. Suddenly, I know I can't do it. I can't lie. It'll be a huge risk, but we'll survive somehow. My parents really like you, Menzies, I say. They're really looking forward to seeing you at the party on Saturday.